when you do find one patch in one spot, often you just want to walk around. Sometimes it takes a few years to really explore an area and find all the different patches, but I think especially with ramps, the name of the game is to keep moving. You always want to just harvest a little bit from all these little patches scattered about, and don't overwhelm one of them. For me, so much about harvesting wild plants is really the relationship and the connection you can have, and just kind of those things that it can bring into your life other than the obvious, delicious foods that can be out there. And I think ramps are these really special plants because they're still in the popular culture. There still is people who sell them to restaurants, and they just have a bit of notoriety. And for that reason, I think they're need to be treated with a certain level of respect because they do get over harvested. And also I think they're a good bridge for people who don't have a strong relationship to nature or nature connection. They can still get into enjoying wild foods and all of those kinds of things through this plant. And I think it's a really nice thing to have in a relationship to a plant, is that understanding that it can bridge people into deeper connection. And I think that's strong in the ramps. When it comes to actually harvesting, there's a lot of people with different opinions who say many different things, taking into consideration that they feel they're over harvested, or that it can take 7 years for a seed to turn into a reproductive adult plant. And I think by and large the safest bet is definitely just to take one leaf from the plant. You can see that they have usually 2 leaves, sometimes 3 poking up. You just take a nice knife and you just cut one leaf off the plant. That definitely gives it a great chance to still reproduce for the year, and obviously come back in all the years coming through. Definitely doesn't kill the plant, and is really good to do that, especially if you're just going to make pestos or cook with them or things like that. Sometimes it's nice to harvest the bulbs and make pickle the bulbs with some nice spices, make kimchi kind of stuff. And if you want to do that too, I think that's okay. You obviously want to do a lot less if you're going to be damaging the plant to such an extent, and knowing how long it takes to grow back. And one other nice thing you can do is, if you look at the bottom of a bulb, there is a little node on the bottom that sends out the roots into the ground, and if you were to just cut that right above, there is a chance that that's going to regrow from the bottom of that bulb. That's a good way to do a little bit less damage if you are interested in that. As you're learning deeper about the forest and what goes on here, is just what natural community that we find ourselves in here. We see all of these amazing maple trees, just these beautiful maple trees. They look really nice and healthy and pretty well aged. And then a lot of these blue cohosh plants. I don't know too much about this plant, but I do know it is blue cohosh. And I often find them growing together. Just this really amazing color of this plant. And then obviously you'll find the trilliums growing in here too. And just thinking about that, if you're thinking about the patch and maybe where to find other patches, is that you're always in a community. You're always in a community of sorts, and seeing who's there and who's present. All right, guys. Well, now we're getting into the truth of wild harvesting. And that is that it is a lot of work to do all this thing. You don't just get here and then magically acquire them. You really have to, dig them up or cut them and collect them in this bag. So to another member of the community out here. Maybe you're familiar with this, maybe not, but bloodroot, often I see it in patches of ramps, and it's really beautiful. I don't quite remember all the medicinal benefits of it, but it's not necessarily an edible plant in the sense that you'd want to eat it like a food in your meals, but it really is a beautiful spring ephemeral wildflower that comes up in a cloak and kind of like opens in this really impressive way. And so yeah, the root is red like blood, and it's all scattered throughout this little section. Maybe you can see those little white dots. And yeah, I think I might try and make some medicine with that. Yeah, what can I say? My bag's getting pretty heavy. I'm about to wrap it up for this spot. One of my favorite things is definitely the rampant nettle pesto. So maybe I'll try and stop at the nettle spot. It's been such a full day, it feels like, being out here. Just felt really good. And yeah, I think just a great example of healthy nature connection, you know, such an abundant patch and such a conscious and, you know, light harvest of this resource, really making sure that we're out here, you know, tending the wild and paying attention to the lives that we're impacting, you know. And I'm sure that, you know, I'd imagine that I'm not the only one who knows about this place, but you never know, I guess. We're pretty far out there. All right, everybody. You really can't make ramp nettle pesto without the nettles. So I'm out here on a different section of the forest. We're a little bit, like 20 minutes south of where we were, by car that is. Looks like we are a little early for the nettles this year. Last time I was here was more towards the end of May, and we're towards the end of April. Yeah, I'm really grateful you all could join me to see these amazing places that exist out here, and I've had the pleasure to find and explore. And I hope it serves to connect people more with nature and see things for, you know, how beautiful they are and how useful they can be to us, and the things they can offer to us, and in return what we can offer to them, and what we can give back to the places that we live in and that we love. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.